the kids have some stuff they want to tell you. And it's okay to be honest in our family, you know.
Will you move your notebook, Dad?
Yes, that's what it is. And then he's like, what did he do? I let it go lick my parts or something.
Yeah, I know he shaved the dog and glued it to his nutsack.
Yeah, that's what it was. Good Lord.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the kid just keeps getting worse till Mom says she took care of herself to Drew Carey.
And then Noah, he's like, okay, stop.
He is one of the best actors ever.
Oh,
Between two ferns.
You got to pull up this turkey. I need to see this picture.
We should probably cut in right around there.
Right. Why? We haven't said anything bad.
Taking care of your wife. Drew
I didn't make that.
I know. That's just a pretty...
Look, now I even got the video.
A deer, too.
They're referring to the movie.
Oh, hell yeah.
Quite a few deer.
The election, that one.
But he's there
With
early.
Zach
That means that he was
Galifianakis.
roosted somewhere close by there.
It's confusing, but...
8:03.
The...
Perfect.
What was it called?
Perfect.
The election. The election is what they were just referring to. Nothing else.
The erection.
Oh. I need those.
I sent Mom my church the other day. It's like, this is the church. Oh, wait. This is the video I was trying to show you guys before.
Are we? You're going to have to cut in somewhere.
They start at 9 o'clock.
I love that video.
You see that one?
You sent it to me like 3 times.
I don't get it. I thought we hated that guy.
That one might not be able to go for sure.
That one's better than the other one.
No.
It's worse words, but at least it's a better concept.
No. I feel bad for those people that are listening to our podcast in the mornings, like driving, because they can't be expecting all this.
That's
you know
why they like listening to it.
Huh?
You know they're the same ones giggling at the same... Because some of the wacky facts they've sent us has been worse than stuff like that.
That's accurate.
All right.
Paraphernalia.
Are we ready to rock and roll?
Yeah.
All right.
Ready to rock.
Welcome back.
I want to rock.
That was perfect timing. I think you even actually started to open your mouth.
Are you done?
I did it.
Oh, it was you?
Yeah.
All right.
Me?
Yeah, he was looking at you.
The devil.
All right, guys. Welcome back to the Raised Hunting Podcast. And as always, I am joined by Warren and Easton, and I need to apologize. And I definitely think I need to apologize today because it sounds like it's going to be worse than ever. So I'm David Holder. I'm your host. We are going to be talking the most epic or most insane turkey hunts. I listed 25 of them, some bitches, because they're all good. There's too many. That's like when people ask me, what's your favorite thing to hunt? You know, what do you, they're all freaking good. I like all of them. So anyhow, so long story short, this should be a pretty interesting. It might be kind of long if we go through all 25 of these hunts. Plus, if they get to put in 1 or 2, I think they've killed 3 turkeys between them or something like that. So,
yep.
I think you guys shot the same one twice. I bet you guys, neither one of you have done that. I've done that.
Warren's done it.
What? Shot the same one?
He's beat you like no other.
No. 2 different people shot the same turkey and killed it. Me and my brother killed it. Shot him with a rifle. During the fall.
I was about to say, like, holy cow.
Not.
So, no, it's not illegal. You say that.
It is legal. It was 100% legal.
I asked if it was illegal, and you said,
I shot that bird. I shot him flying with a 270.
Okay.
Killed him.
Good Lord. What?
4!
That is retarded.
No.
Yeah, why are you shooting a 270
Because my brother
in the
just
air?
shot and rolled him, and then he took off flying, and we were on an island in the Shenandoah River, And
I'm
what are
pretty
you
sure
supposed
your
to do?
bullet can cross the river.
Yeah, but he was still flying. So
That is dumb.
I dumped him.
Don't do that. Don't do that at home, people.
I don't know what you're talking about. I was trying to kill the turkey my brother shot, and I did. That's not even one of the ones on my list. So that was just an extra. That was just added. But before we get started, just a reminder, guys, thank you guys for the reviews. You guys have been doing awesome. And also for the questions and the comments and guys talking about blinds. We're getting lots of people that are saying, number one, they weren't going turkey hunting, or they've never turkey hunted, or they haven't turkey hunted in a long time. And our podcast has got them thinking, I want to go kill a turkey. So that's pretty cool. Although one gentleman did send me a picture of his Mossberg 835 that he's selling now because
Is he really? Has he had the same experience?
No, he hasn't even used it. He won it last year at a Raise the Full Draw banquet.
Yeah.
And he says, I just won this gun, and it's the exact gun you were talking about. I'm selling it. So,
Oh, that's funny.
but anyhow, so we appreciate it. Thank you guys for doing that. Don't forget to go to the Raised Hunting website. Check out the Raised Knox, the Raised Sense, the Canine line, and the apparel. I saw someone else bought another black on black sweatshirt, but I don't know now because you have the two different ones. I don't know whether he bought the new one or the old one.
Who
But
was it?
I don't know. He was saying he loved it. So,
Well, I can tell you, depending on if it was a small or a medium.
well, I don't know. So anyhow, but before we get rolling on this podcast today, we'll let Warren do his housekeeping chores here.
Eric Robards, 1209. It's a great podcast, guys. I thought it was a great wacky fact, David. And if you guys get a T-shirt for the Scent logo, sign me up. William Ayers, SP4TT, said, great episode, guys. Thanks. James Mass, 9060, said, just want to say thank you. So I shot my first turkey this evening, and it was a hell of an experience. Yesterday was the first day of turkey season here in Kansas for bow only, and had no luck. Heard turkeys, saw turkeys, but they wanted nothing to do with me. On Tuesday, April 8th, I had work this morning, was actually watching one of your podcast episodes. Warren was talking about not having much luck with turkeys in the evening. I am new, so I've learned almost everything about turkeys from y'all pretty much. So I was kind of worried about going. Nonetheless, I went. So I get set up. 3 turkeys come into the field, then 5, then 1, 9 turkeys in the field. I couldn't believe it. So they were walking the edge of the field towards the corner, and I was worried they were just going to go into the timber. All of a sudden, they start running towards my decoy after turning my strutting tom a couple times with the good old fishing line.
There you go.
All 9 made it to 10 yards. Oh, so it was 9
9 toms.
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
Jeez. I held for the drumsticks and let it fly. Arrow hit the turkey perfectly. Out of excitement, I ran out there, and by the time I got to him, he was already done in. Couldn't have had a better experience
Hell
for
yeah.
my first turkey
Heck yeah.
with the bow. Thank you all again. Keep up the great content. P.S. I shot my first buck using your sense this year as well. It works.
This is awesome.
What's this dude's name?
James Mass 9060.
Hey, you sent us an email because I'm trying to find you to do ads for our sense. So I would like to have you to talk with you.
I'm just thinking James is an instant pro staffer.
Jake Lee said, Easton, you can use my name when you talk about guys who hate turkey and then decide to try it. I hated on it hard all last year.
Yeah, you
You
did.
guys dropped turkey pods. Also, first comment, boys, step it up. You know what? Look, I think next time when you post the podcast, just immediately comment it first.
That's what most people do.
Tyler Schmidt, 1506. You can reuse the Magnum bullheads if you tighten the blades after every shot and they last. I have my bow set up with a head chopper arrow and a dead meat arrow that weigh the same so I can keep the same sight tape.
Good. That's a good tip.
Well, I would, and I agree with Tyler, I agree with you to an extent. However, some of the ones that I had, the blades had dents in them. So, but you can replace the blades.
Gotcha.
I did look at that Bomar one. It's not even just, it's 2 sizes.
And then Jeremy Rupsick. All right.
you can get a smaller version.
Yeah, 3-inch and a 4-inch or whatever.
Yeah, I feel like the 4-inch, you shoot a freaking softball at the things.
That's the goal.
Yeah, you just aim in that general direction.
Fair enough. Okay, I got one, even though we pretty much just got
I was
one.
gonna say we just got
That
one.
was
I would
legit.
save that till next week.
All right, well, I've got people starting to send them, so I'm starting to build again.
All right. Well, we're rolling, man. That was awesome. I'm proud. I hope he sends us a picture.
Yeah, for real, actually, shoot an email to contact@raisedhunting.com, and maybe I got something for you.
I think sometimes that's the key is it's nice to not know too much because then you don't overthink everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just stick to the basics.
Oh, yeah, that is definitely a big thing.
Okay, so today,
I like that sweat. When did you get that sweatshirt?
Have you talked
It's a
about
prototype.
the topic?
No, I don't think so. I want that sweatshirt.
You should introduce
Call
it.
our friends. We might know somebody.
Easton's got on a Coat of Silence sweatshirt. It's badass. And I just realized it.
I
So
wear it all the
What's
time.
today's topic?
today's topic is, I already said this, the most epic.
insane turkeys.
Hunts.
Well, I mean, so
We're not talking about the most insane turkeys.
Kinda. Because usually they were the psychos.
No, sometimes they're not the psychos. Sometimes they're the ones you got to work the hardest for.
Okay, so
Like-
who's going first? And I feel like you need to use yours, not somebody else's.
Well, I can't use
Okay,
like
that
one of
would dwindle some of mine
Mom-
down. That
Mom-
would dwindle about 3/4 of Dad down. I bet.
Mom's you could use.
Mom's the only person I know that killed a turkey by hitting it with one single pellet in the head. One pellet.
Was the turkey insane?
There you go. There's a story.
Yeah.
Okay, mark that
we
one
reaped
off.
it. We reaped it. We got, and boom, she shoots, and it took off running. If it wasn't Robbie sitting 200 yards away, the turkey came running by and tipped over. We'd have never found it. That's an
weird.
insane turkey hunt. And
Yeah.
that's really short version, but one single pellet was in his head.
Okay, so let's go to an insane one.
Okay?
It's either one of your own or not one of the people at this table.
I got so many.
Out of my list, I do have quite a few that are me too. So
Okay, in this one is including you. So maybe, what do you have?
On number one is that Idaho bird.
The fly that flies in.
I think that's got to be
Absolutely.
on all of our lists.
Yeah, he's on my list, but that's not number one. Because I don't know if you'll even remember this or not.
Then how can he say it's number one? You
Because
freaking
when-
tard bar.
Because I'll guarantee you, I would bet money, there's only a handful of listeners out there, maybe not even a handful, maybe 2 or 3 that have had this happen.
Doesn't matter if he can't remember. That could be
He'll
his
remember
number
when
one.
he'll remember when I say it.
Okay.
What was the state?
Nebraska.
And how many turkeys died in
None.
How many arrows he shot?
So do you remember when we went, the first time we went to Nebraska? I'm trying to remember when we went to Stratton. I think that's what Stanford or Stratton, the south, with Jim. And we didn't go to Shadron. We went down. I don't know if this was the first place we went, but you remember where we went
think
to?
it was the first
So
place,
this
yeah.
was the place. There's two things that came from that. That was the first time that I realized how important eyes are in your turkeys, because
Yep.
the eyes fell out of my turkey, and that bird came in and freaked out.
Yep, I remember
Because
that
he went over and told all the other turkeys, I'm telling you, that's you have no eyeballs, and he was like gone. But do you remember what happened when we got out of the truck, walked over the hill, and stood there that morning? Because to this day, I've never heard anything like it.
Oh, the gobbling?
The wave of gobbling.
Yeah.
It was, so to kind of set this up for you guys, we're hunting a river bottom. We have private ground that we're hunting. I think it was 200 or 300 acres that bordered a humongous chunk of national forest or public land. And we drove over to the public land, and there was lots of people over there. Remember all the tents and stuff? And there was that's where we saw the 2 ladies turkey hunting with their bows. This is archery season. And so there was lots of people hunting the public, and that would have been a mile, probably 2 miles of river country or river bottom that they could hunt. And so we were like, oh, well, we'll just stay up there on our end, and see if we can find birds up there. So Warren and I get there early in the morning, and we park and we get out, and we got time. I mean, it's still dark. So we walk over, and we got the blind and the decoy and everything on our backs. And I said, let's just stand here for a minute and see if we can hear a bird gobble, and we'll go from there. And so we stopped there and stood there for a couple minutes. Nothing's happening. And I'm not a big, I think you guys have already heard me say, I'm not big on using things to make turkeys gobble. I just wait for them to do it naturally on their own. And so we're just standing there, and all of a sudden, a bird gobbles like a mile away. I mean, literally, way down the river. And when he gobbles, it starts a chain reaction that to this day I've never heard it again. And it was, and it goes by us. So many freaking turkeys gobbling on the river that it started down there and just went all the way through. And then when they did it the second time is when the birds gobbled that were in the tree right in front of us. The first time they didn't even gobble, but it was, I would say, without a doubt, it was over 100 turkeys gobbling. I'm thinking it was closer to 200. It was crazy. I've never heard anything like that in my life.
I can't remember it as clear as you. I remember it being a lot, but I don't.
It was not a gobble. It was like literally like being in a stadium when they do the wave.
How
and it
funny
was
would that be if they're
it was awesome. It was
the birds down at the end. Get ready, it's about to us.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
I don't feel like we saw that many though.
No, we didn't. We ended up killing. I think I might have killed you missed one in that field.
Yeah.
And then I killed one. Because the first one came in and the eyes had fallen out and he freaked out and ran off. And then another one came in and I shot him before he got to the decoy because I knew something was wrong with our decoy.
I think I missed a Jake though.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah.
I say we're restricted to shots.
No.
Yes.
That's not fair. Okay. Well, anyhow, that's one.
Okay, well.
Two, actually. I got 3.
We can do the Idaho one because that one's probably on everybody's list.
Okay.
Is it? On yours?
Have you
Yeah,
ever?
but
yeah, it was on mine.
But that same morning was, you guys just weren't there for that, was the one that was gobbling his freaking head off. That's why we went over there.
Ain't anything compared to what that turkey did. Not even close.
Oh, dude, this turkey
No, I don't care about how much he gobbles. You see a freaking turkey pitch off the top of a mountain and come flying into your decoys, it's a little different.
I agree.
Well, you guys set the scene for everyone.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
he's getting it. He won't get to it.
Okay, so we go over to, we used to live in Montana, and so where we lived in Montana, in the northwest corner, you have the panhandle of Idaho comes up. So it was only about a 30-mile, now it's probably 50 miles. 50-mile drive for us to go to another state and turkey hunt. My boys are 12, 13, 14, and 10 or whatever, something like that. So we want to hunt turkey, so let's go buy out non-resident tags and go hunt turkeys. Well, we get over there, we knock on some doors, and we get permission. Idaho, for those of you that may have not hunted out west, Idaho is steep. Like, it's all up and straight up and down. So when we got there, I'm like, what are the chances of us even finding turkeys here? But anyhow, we knocked on some doors. Sure enough, some people said, yep, we got some turkeys, and you guys are the only people that have ever asked us, so you're more than welcome to go hunt them. So Karen and I go to we get a couple places. That's the morning you guys went to the yard, or not the yard, but these people had a house in their barn and there's trees around that, but then it went across the railroad track. And so Warren and Easton are going to hunt there because we saw a bunch of turkeys there, like 25 or 30 of them. Karen and I go to this big chunk of not national forest, but it backed up to the national forest. And so it was just a lot of timber, but it was mixed. It was kind of horse pasture through there. One of the coolest things was, I don't remember if it was that morning or the first thing, but the moon was full, and it was just coming up, or it was just sitting like a few feet above the ground, it looked like, and we had like 7 elk walk across. And then turkeys were gobbling behind that. So anyhow, long story short, we find a turkey gobbling, and this is in the evening, and this bird is going nuts. And I'm like, okay, Karen, we're going to be sitting right here in the morning. So we come back, we climb in the blind. This bird comes in, and I've only had like 3 or 4 times where I've had a turkey gobble this much. Like, wouldn't take a breath. He wasn't waiting on you to call, or it just, and he comes in and I shoot him. And we heard another bird gobbling up the ridge. So we get out of the blind. This is at like 7:30. We go get you guys. You guys you'd seen some turkeys, but no shots. And we come back, and I said, I think we might be able to get on this bird. He was gobbling pretty heavy as well. And so we start up the ridge, and it's a pretty long walk. We pack ourselves back in there, and we get in probably 400 or 500 yards back there. And finally that bird gobbles, and he's up on the ridge. So we get as close as we can, but we don't want to get too close because he is up. He's got advantage on us as far as being high. So remember there was kind of a nice little flat, and then where me and you end up laying outside the blind was like a knoll. And so this knoll rolls over, and then it's perfectly flat, and then it goes up the mountain. So Karen and Warren climb in the blind because Karen's going to run the camera. Easton and I are going to stay out of the blind and try to call the turkey past them, kind of doing an elk setup on this bird in case we needed to move. Plus, I had another video camera in my hand. I had a little handheld. So Easton and I lay down on our bellies because this bird is gobbling pretty hard. And so I said, okay, I'm going to throw
pretty hard. He was going nuts, and then we hadn't hit a call because we were afraid.
We were trying to get set up before we did anything.
He might do this.
And so
not to that extent, but
I don't know why, but I distinctly remember I used a box call. And maybe
Yeah,
It was way further than 400 or 500 yards. Like, this was a legit mountain for people that.
Oh, yeah,
and he was up the mountain a pretty good ways. So I think you were afraid he wasn't going to be able to hear it.
maybe that, I don't know, but I just remember hitting that box call, and I hit that box call, and that bird like, I'm like, oh, he definitely heard that, and it was only like a minute, and I'm trying to tell Easton, well, I don't know if he's going to come and then I look up. And this freaking turkey is flying in, and as he's flying in, and I'm not a waterfowl hunter, but if you've ever seen a bird flying by something and then he notices something,
especially if they have a longer net,
he turns his head and sees the decoys that he just flew over and makes a freaking left turn and lands, I don't know, 15, 20 yards from he didn't land right at the decoys. He landed a little bit further from them. But as soon as he hit the ground, I'm like, I don't know if they're going to know he's coming, because he flew in and now he's on the other side of the decoys. So Easton and I just shut up. We don't do anything. Well, I never even touch the record button on the other camera that I have because I'm so engrossed at this turkey flying in. But Warren's the shooter. Karen is the videographer, and she happened to have the camera on. You guys were doing your interview, I think.
We were trying. Hadn't even started. We were like trying to do the interview, and I was just knocking an arrow, and then I'm like looking out, and I just see a shadow,
right? And we've got
like 100 yards away, and then just hear, and I was like, both mom and I are like, well, mom's really confused, and she's like, what was that? You know, and I was also like, what
Get ready.
Frick was that? And I was like, was that the turkey? And I peeked out the back window, and could see him on the hill coming towards us, and I told mom, here he comes. And so just saw just a shadow and doing Mach 40, you know, because off of a mountain.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Yeah, it was nuts. It truly was. But we actually have video because she was running the camera. You see a shadow go over the decoys, you know. But other than that, I mean, you wouldn't have known unless someone could tell you what was going on there, what ended up happening. But you made a good shot on that bird. He didn't go 20 yards.
Yeah, and
tipped
he was
over.
Huge.
That was a big tom.
Miriam for.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder, I think if I was a turkey, the last two turkeys I'd ever want to meet would be that one or Droopy Butt.
Droopy Butt.
Because both of them had to have been absolute psychos. Like, I feel
Which
like
one, besides Droopy Butt, what was the other one?
That one.
Oh, you're off the Idaho. Okay.
Because to me, like, what that bird is hearing in his head when he hears a hen like that is like Trick Daddy's "Let's Go."
Oh yeah.
You know, and he's like, "Let's go!" And he's just unhinged. How did you
he
even
should
know
be like a
there was
velociraptor turkey where he comes in with his talons ready to go, or his
That's
spurs.
you know, you could have a 50-pound decoy and he ain't no fear.
Yeah, freaking.
How did we even know there was turkeys there?
I went over and just listened that evening before.
No, I'm saying where we were at in Idaho, because it's not somewhere that you would be.
I just started I think I did when I did some seminars at some things. I talked to people and kept asking, because if you remember too, a lot of people won't know this, but you can go kill eastern turkeys in Montana if you hunt the northwest corner. They're not the native Miriams. And so anyhow, as I was talking to people about turkeys around Montana, then I started quizzing people about Idaho, and someone told me you might check the Bonners Ferry area, and so that's kind of where I just started there. And then I think I called the Fish and Game department there, and said, hey, what's it like up there and stuff like that. And the only thing everyone told me was it's steep, so just be ready.
Which it was crazy too to think of those easterns in Montana. I remember us. I don't know. I think we killed like one, which was the first one you guys ever killed. And I remember trying to not understanding why they were so hard to kill.
They're just,
and now it's just they're exactly the same behavior as our easterns here, just in the northwest corner. Yeah, that some of them were like in town.
Didn't mean you killed one though, in somebody's backyard. A jake.
Trigo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was that wasn't an eastern. Yeah, or if it was,
I think some of them were hybrids in there.
Well, he acted like a Miriam.
Well, they could still be dumb.
Okay, so that one's got to be one of the number one.
I would like to know anybody else if you have seen some or have. I want to see somebody that has video of one of these suckers doing it, flying into the decoys like that. I wonder if anybody has anything.
I just saw.
I mean, I've heard some guys.
Well, I just saw one come up on because I'm like been watching everything I think can turkey wise. I'm like 8 up right now, and someone called one in the other day, and it comes in. It's like early in the morning, and it flies in. Well, you can't tell that. Like, I don't want to give it away, but anyhow, this bird flies in. Right, you hear him gobble, you think, okay, it's coming off the roost. That's what we're going to see him fly down, and then this dude's going to shoot him. Well, instead of flying down, flies over and lands in a tree. So he's sitting in this tree. I don't know how far away he was. Anyhow, you can clearly see this Tom sitting on the limb, and boom, this dude shoots him. And when the bird falls, it's all water. He falls like in a pond, and he's like flopping around in the water.
Is that even legal?
Yeah, some places like Virginia clearly states it that it is 100% legal to shoot a bird on the roost. This wouldn't be considered a roosted bird. Now that I saw the water, he didn't have a place to land. So he landed in the tree next to the call because it was all water.
Yeah, well, they're still going to call it
shooting him out of a tree. Yeah. I mean,
baseline.
But anyhow, so some places, yes, it's legal. I don't know if Iowa even addresses it.
I don't think they do, surprisingly.
Okay, so
we don't shoot them out of the roost.
No, they really piss me off, but I still wouldn't do that. Are we saying that's number one overall?
I don't know how you're going to vote.
I might have to go with that one being number one. I think I got some cool stories, but I don't know if anyone would top. And the fact that all of us were there too.
Yeah, that was super.
The only thing that could have made that better is if I was older. That's it.
Why? Because
I remember it pretty clearly, but I don't know. Or me running the camera like I do nowadays, we would have got it because then Dad could have called and one of us could have been filming, but that would have been freaking
if we'd gotten
our angle of what it looked like to see him.
I just remember he's like wings are locked, and he's like.
I wish I could have seen that.
And he turned left.
Oh, yeah. He turned hard like a fighter jet.
Yeah.
That's literally what it looked like because it went from flat to thunk.
I just saw the shadow just and hurt him right over our heads.
I think I was trying to figure out what to say. I was trying to think, like, shouldn't we be telling them or something? And he was there so fast, none of us could say anything. So it was just be quiet.
Mom was so confused.
I can imagine.
Because she didn't realize till later that he flew in.
Yeah.
So she was like, how did he get over there? It goes because he flew over our heads.
She got it on camera.
That was the other thing for us is you could hear it.
Yeah.
Like, you guys probably couldn't hear it because he probably landed first. Over top, I mean, it was a...
Yeah, he never flew over us because he was coming right at us. He like knew where the call was, and he's coming right at us. And then I just remember his goofy neck looking over like this, and he was like, "Oh, there they are!" And then he cut left.
That was wild.
All right,
it's cool.
Let's go to number 2.
Who's going?
Oh, you have like 80 of them,
I
so
know.
you better get going.
I think that I call it the Pied Piper. And this was with Easton.
Oh, I know you're talking.
And so what are you, 13 maybe there?
13 or 14.
13, 14 years old. This is here in Iowa. And I think you'd already killed a bird. So I take him that morning and never hunted that spot before. And we get there, we hear gobbles, but they're way off. I'm like, gosh, dang, that sucks. There's nothing close to us. So Easton gets bored. He says, I'm going to take a nap. And so he starts to take a nap. And even I got like, they're not here. I'm not hearing any gobbles within. And where we were set up, there was
close.
Nothing close. And like we could see up this hill maybe 75 yards, green grass, but then we couldn't see the cornfield that was on top. And I was like, well, I think while he's napping, I'm just going to walk up there. But I want to be careful here. So I take the strutting decoy and hold it in front of my head and walk up there. So I walk up to the top of the hill, and I get to the fence, which we can't cross the fence. And there's a big cornfield I can see 300-400 yards. Sure enough, I look way across there because I had heard gobbles that way earlier, but I haven't heard them in a while. So while I'm sitting there, I stick the decoy in the fence. I wedge it into the fence. So now the decoy is sitting like 5 feet tall, but it's blocking me. And I'm standing there, and I like, holy cow, I think I see a turkey. And sure enough, I grabbed binoculars and like 350, 400 yards away.
It's further than that. We did we marked it to see how far it was.
It was hundreds of yards. There is a turkey way across there. So I got to try. So I grab my call and I'm, and he gobbles at me. And I'm like, well, that's cool. Well, this goes on for like 35, 40 minutes. He would answer me, but that was about it. Easton's still asleep down here behind me. And finally, I'm like, he's turned and he's walking this way, but like not, I mean, he's covered 50 yards. And I was like, all right, here's the deal. If he goes down that little drainage, I won't be able to see him for a while. If he does that, that means he's at least come 100 yards. I'll go get Easton. And so sure enough, he walks through the cornfield and he disappears. And I'm like, okay, I got plenty of time. I run back. I tell Easton, hey, man, I got a turkey up here, and we're going to see what happens. So we both walk back up there. We get back up there. Here he comes up out of that drainage, and now he's like, I don't know, 250, 300 yards away, but he's walking toward us. I hit a call. He gobbles. Now Easton's like, I think he might be coming, Dad. And I was like, he might be. I don't know. I mean, he's still a long ways away. And so we hit another call, and there's another drainage. And I was like, if he goes down in that drainage, then we better get out of here because that would mean he's coming. Now, this takes an hour. And so I just keep calling, and then once in a while I turn that decoy because I thought if he could see this over here. And so anyhow, sure enough, after a long period of time, he goes down out of sight again. And I'm like, we better go get in the blind. So we run back, so we pull the decoy off, we go put the decoy back up in front of the blind, we climb in the blind, and we get in there, and I'm calling. We heard him gobble once, I think once or twice, but then there was nothing. And I was like, man, I thought we really had him here. And it had been like 15, 20 minutes. He's had time to come that last bit. Why isn't he here? And then all of a sudden I look up and I see a freaking fan coming over the hill. And I'm like, that sucker is right where we were standing at the fence. So he's about 75, 80 yards away. And he sees the decoy and he just comes right marching straight down the freaking hill until he shoots him at like 6 yards. And that's what I call the Pied Piper, for those of you that know the story, the fairy tale story or whatever, where he goes out and attracts the rats. But that I'll kind of go out and I'll make calls and try to pull turkeys and start moving them. And that bird came from a freaking long ways, and he made a good shot on that one and with his bow, and we ended up killing a turkey that morning. And
that was like I think we had looked, it was like just under a mile from where the first place we saw him. And what he failed to mention was when he would gobble, if we're watching him, you'd watch him gobble, and then you'd wait like 2 seconds, and then you'd hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, what is he doing? And then we're like, okay, he's that far is delayed. The sound is delayed.
Yeah, that's a long ways. A long ways.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to one of yours.
We're doing ours specifically, right?
I think we start there, yeah.
Because that means I got to weed one or two out. But I think I have to do it's just stupid. Or kind of whack. The first turkey I ever reaped.
First one.
Yeah, when we first moved here.
Right.
So I'd never shot a shotgun before. And reaping was, you guys all say it's been around for 100 years, but when it first got popular to everybody doing it, that was like 12 years ago. And Dad had a guy call him and see if I wanted to go. Same situation we have this weekend, because he wanted to go youth season, I think, and didn't want to wait till adult season. And so he brought me out there, and he was one of the dudes started doing all the reaping and stuff.
Yeah, he was big into it.
And so he's like, yeah, we're going to have these 3 decoys and this, that, and everything. Me and your dad, or him and my dad will stay behind these. He's going to put this a turkey fan on my gun, just the fan. I'm like, this dude's a moron. There's no way this is going to work.
Because we've never done this. We've never heard of it, never seen it done, nothing like that. So I'm extremely skeptical. And I'm more skeptical when he tells me, first when he asked us if we can go, it was a Saturday. And I was like, well, Easton has baseball. So so we won't be able to get there first thing in the morning. Oh, that's okay. And I was like, dude, this is like, we're going to drive like 2 hours, and for what? I don't want to go down there and just mess around. He's like, oh, no, we'll kill one. And he was like 100% like positive. And then if you remember, you didn't break your thumb, but you jammed it, or he
did during a tournament. Something.
But like almost like emergency room type thing. And so anyhow, he could not take his bow now, because you were talking about taking your bow. He couldn't shoot his. I'm like, hey, he can't shoot his bow. He's like, that's okay. We'll use a shotgun. And I was like, gosh, no matter what I say to this guy, he's like, we're going to kill a turkey. So we don't even get there till like.
I had also never shot a shotgun at this point in my life.
So
I know I was 13.
You guys shot before you shot the turkey, though, right?
The night before, when I came home from my tournament, Dad put a McDonald's cup out at 10 or 15 yards to see if I could shoot it with a 20 gauge. And he said, yeah, it'll kick a little bit like a 22. It knocked me square on my ass. Literally right on my butt.
Why'd you tell him 22? You didn't want to be afraid or what?
Yeah, I want him to just shoot.
Yeah, you could have at least warned me something that gives me a little kick so I can prepare for it. Because it's a 20 gauge.
But he crushed the cup. But he was rolling off. He was rolling. He never saw it hit the cup.
No, anyways, but that was so the night before. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory to shoot a shotgun. I'd shot guns, but so we checked to make sure. And so I could make sure I could hold the gun. And then, so we get there the next day, and it was that simple. He says, just start crawling at him. And he explained a little bit to us, but the whole time, me and Dad are also like, this is weird, because we didn't go like, and I probably wouldn't still don't really do it this way anymore, but like we drive around, he's got permission on freaking tons of ground, and especially for youth, and, we just drive around until you find birds, and we'd pass some and be like, oh, no, those aren't in a great spot. And then you go to the next, oh, these ones are right out in the wide open. And I'm like, that's like,
the
what
worst
are we going to do with this? And he just, right there, those ones, we're going to go kill those. And pulls over on the side of the road where behind trees and everything and says, all right, so here's what we're going to do. We're just going to all walk out here. Me and your dad might call a little bit. Your dad's going to film, maybe just to get their attention, And when I tell you, I'll be talking to you. I'll talk you through it. That you're just going to get on your knees and you're going to start crawling with that fan in front of you, I'm like, all right, that's simple enough. And he's like, when they get close, I might yell for you to shoot or something, but get that hammer ready and shoot. I'm like, all right, I got it. And there's 4 toms out there in this field. And so, again, not knowing what to expect here, I'm like, all right, whatever. I'll just start crawling. So I start crawling and everything, and they're literally guiding me.
Well, before you even started crawling, though, the first thing the dude next to me said, here they come. And I mean, like, we're just like walking. We were walking, like not creeping, not.
But we did have our decoys.
We had the decoys up. We had those in front of us because we were coming up. There was a terraced field. And so we knew they were out in the terraced field somewhere. But I haven't even seen them yet. And all of a sudden he's like, okay, here they come. And I'm like, what the hell is he talking about, man? And then Easton's like, oh, yeah, they're running at us. And now he said, all right, Easton, go. Get out in front. And so Easton drops down and starts going toward these turkeys, which now I look over and these 2 toms are just sprinting across this cornfield at us. I mean, they're coming like no other.
Well, all 4 came in, but 2. So he has me start crawling. As looking back on it now, I think he was doing it just so he could see what it's like to actually crawl at him. But by the time they had already seen it, they were already coming. But I crawl out like 20, 30 yards, and there was 4 heads sprinting at me, and I'm looking under my gun. They're under the fan, and as a 13-year-old that had no idea this is what I was getting into, it's quite daunting that I have 4 toms running like they're going to beat the piss out of me. But anyways, I thought it was pretty cool. And so 2 of them hung up for whatever reason, and the other 2 kept coming. And when they came in, they stopped. They definitely knew something.
Yeah, but at like 5 yards.
Yeah, I shot probably 7 or 8 yards. But that wasn't the craziest part. I shoot the one, drops right there. And then I hear these guys like, yeah, good work or whatever. And then somebody starts yelling, crawl at him.
Crawl at him.
I'm like, I just shot the bird. There's nothing to crawl at. What do you want me to do here? And I'm like, okay, whatever. I couldn't even see. I didn't see it. The bird that was at the dead turkey.
Right.
And they're telling me to crawl at him. I'm like, what are these morons talking about? So I just kept crawling at the dead turkey, and then they start yelling something again, and then I realized there's a bird right here that wants to tango, and so he freaking starts flopping around for a minute, the dead one, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? While the other one is right next to me, trying to fight the dead one and me.
Yeah, he was telling you to hit him in the head with your gun barrel.
Yeah.
And so what he was trying to get Easton to do was the live turkey was trying to beat up on the dead turkey, and the dead turkey was flopping on the ground. And instead of Easton whacking the live turkey in the head with his shotgun, he's banging on the dead one.
Yeah.
So the turkey and Easton are ganging up on the dead turkey.
He just wanted you to hit the live one, not like trying to kill her, and just tapping it to show how close you were.
Just to show that you could get within a few feet.
Yeah.
But I also had a flopping turkey and no idea what they were. I just hear mumbling behind me. Like they're yelling at me, so I just keep whacking this thing.
But that was our introduction to reaping, and I was floored. I was like, what the heck, man? Because we literally hunted for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, from the time we saw them to walk around there, I mean, hunting-wise, we probably hunted less than 10.
Yeah. I will say that all the controversy around it, I was thinking about it. We did that. I don't remember the last time we've started out reaping, really, except for like the first year or two where we're like, well, this is really weird. Can this happen? And everybody gives it so much crap for it being 100%. And I know, like, number one, I think the amount of people that have done it has made it a little more unsuccessful, but I still think it's ridiculously high probability. But we save it on purpose. Like we go hunt in our blinds and we're sitting against trees or whatever. And then by the end of the season, when we have all these super, super difficult birds that have already been hunted, seen every decoy set up from everybody else and everything, then we pull out reaping. And it's a hit or miss at that point. And so it's not as much of a.
But you can tell if it's going to work.
Oh yeah, really quick.
Because that's one of mine. The other one was It was the first time that you wanted to do it with your bow, after we had done the one you remember, and you went across the bottom field down there, and I got to sit back and watch from like a distance as Easton crawled on that bird. And it's the first time
That's the one I'm talking to?
Yes.
Okay.
And you can hear Easton's got I'm filming, and so you can hear Easton going, "Come on, sucker. Just I know you see me. I know you see me. I'm getting close to you. Let's fight. Let's fight."
I was tired. I crawled a long
crawled
ways.
like 200 yards, but you could see that bird never even acted like he wanted to leave that field. He just kept strutting back and forth, and he can see this other Tom coming, and he was like, you could see his strut take, like he went into, like he'd come out of strut and then he would almost like go into it like someone flexing. He was like, and the closer he got, the more angry that bird got. I mean, he just started cutting back and forth, and then finally, I'm going to say maybe 60, you got within maybe 50, 60 yards, and he broke and was like, you're too close. And he came running, and I was like, oh my gosh, what's it? And sure enough, he comes in, he runs up to like 3 or 4 yards, and then he realizes something's wrong, and trying to draw your bow, Easton couldn't get a shot at him.
Yeah.
It was freaking cool.
I think one of the first ones that comes to my mind was also with Easton. And we were trying to, I don't know why it was just you and I hunting, but we were trying to get to our spot.
Where are we at?
The neighbors.
Oh, in Iowa?
Yeah.
Okay.
In Iowa. And we're like, it might have been after school or something. I don't know if you were hunting with Mom or what the deal was, but East and I were going. So, and we like made it to the hill to where we were trying to get to and saw a whole bunch of them. And so then we were like, oh no. And then they started, or one or two of them started coming towards us. And so East and I are like, all right, well, there was a couple cedars on a fence line. And so we just.
Oh, now I know what neighbors you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah. And we ditched the blind because they were coming at us. We're like, which in hindsight, we might have had time to back over the hill, put up the blind and everything.
Yeah.
But we didn't know I was like probably 16 or something. Easton was like 12 or so.
We wouldn't have got a shot.
I don't know. So anyways, we decide that we are going to drop the blind, and we're going to get in this cedar. And we did get the decoy out, and we put the decoy out in front of us like
10 yards.
I don't even know if it was that far. It was probably like 5 yards.
Yeah, it was not very far.
And so then started calling to this bird. And sure enough, he pops up on the fence line with
that
us.
we're sitting on.
Yeah, the fence line we're sitting on. Like the fence is, barbed wire's almost touching my back. And he comes up the fence line and then he's like stops at like 10, 12 yards, but we can't shoot him because he's behind the fence. And then he decides he's going to come all the way up.
Which it's the same owner. We just couldn't get set up on the other side of the fence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And
turned
way better.
and turned around because we were facing this way in that cedar bush. So I'm like right here. Easton's like right here. We were supposed to be filming, I think.
I was filming a lot.
Were
of
you
this.
filming?
Yeah.
We just couldn't. Okay, yeah. We just couldn't film to that side, and then we decided to ban the camera. But anyways, so then the turkey he comes all the way
I
up
left it recording.
the fence.
I think it's you doing something, but
Maybe
anyways.
comes past us. So this bird is like legit from me to you. He's just on the other side of the fence. Do you
He's
remember
strutting
that?
back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, and so we're like, afraid to even flinch because he's right here and you can feel him spitting and drumming and just right on top of us. And so then did he go over the hill when we grabbed the decoy the first time?
He started to go back over the hill, and he would go over the hill, and then he'd pop back up and keep coming back. And
Okay.
then-
So
I don't know why he was going that far. I think he was going back to the other birds.
maybe. So he did that a couple times and they were like, all right, we're going to try to grab the.
This
Well,
was my idea. I had to convince you to just
I
let
think
me
I
crawl
did it.
out.
Well, I think I did it first.
I think you did.
And then you're like, let me try. And so I crawled out, grabbed the decoy,
Yeah.
and came back. And he did come back to it, but we couldn't get him to cross the fence. And so then he started doing the same thing. And then I was like, pretty much like, I don't know what else to do at this point. And then Easton's like, let me get it. Let me grab the decoy. And then I was like, okay. And so Easton's like, I was like, and so we're both, I don't know if we'd forgot about the camera or just said, screw the camera at this
No,
point.
I was going out to do it. I couldn't film anything, so I think I just
I know, that's
sat
what I'm
there
saying. I
and
can't
left
remember
it.
if we were just like, whatever,
Yeah.
on the camera. Because then I do know we were going to set this up to where I could shoot.
Yeah.
And so Easton was going to go out, grab the camera, because we couldn't get him to come through the fence. Even though it might have been sheep fenced at the bottom.
I don't know,
But
but
it
he
wasn't-
was not coming through it.
Yeah.
No care in the world.
I think that is sheep fence over there.
But it was where we were at, it was like broken down. Like it was not impossible at all for him to cross it. He just wouldn't, even though he'd come 2 yards from us. So Easton sneaks out, grabs the decoy, and then starts doing this again. And I get turned around and ready. And sure enough, he comes back. And then I think he went past us and like went behind the cedars and then turned around. And that's when I was able to get to full draw. And so then I got to full draw and I shoot this bird at like 8 yards right across from us, no blind, nothing. And honestly, I don't know where I hit him. I thought I hit him really good, but we have no idea where I did hit him. And he flew across this drainage. And then we looked for him for, I don't know, several hours and never could find him.
You went
But
back
it
the next
was,
day to look too.
huh?
You went back the next day to look too.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
looking.
but it was unbelievable.
Yeah, that was kind of wild. And working him that long is
Having him so close. I mean, this was probably 30 minutes of this whole thing went on. 40 minutes of this turkey at like 3 yards.
Yeah. What?
I'm just reading my little list here. I got so many.
You have a long list.
Yeah, I know. Which one? What do you got next? What's your next one?
The funny story of shooting. You could do, shooting 2 turkeys in a row in Nebraska, shooting 2 turkeys in a row and watching them bounce off.
Oh yeah, I thought you were talking about when we knocked on doors.
I had 3 birds and 1 blind in 2 days.
Yeah.
I think is what it was. Yeah, that one was kind of wild. That one's better than the 2. We can tell that one later. Me and Dad had a goal. I think it was like 2016 or 2017. It was a while ago that we wanted to see how cheap we could go to Nebraska just for a weekend, and 2 dudes go hunt and stay in a hotel, whatever, buy your tags, everything. All of it ended up being like under $500. It was pretty freaking crazy.
Yeah, for those of you that have not taken a youth to Nebraska, as far as I know, it's still $7. $7 for a youth hunter to kill a turkey. And
Even non-res still?
Non-resident was $7.
Yeah, but I'm saying they still have the tags for non-resident youth.
Yeah, but now it's a draw. I don't know about the youth season. I don't know that. But I know that the state has entered a draw, and it's down from 3 turkeys to 2.
Yeah.
because that's why we would go there. Because for $21, you guys could shoot 3 turkeys.
It's crazy.
Yeah, hats off to Nebraska as far as taking care of the kids. It's a cool deal.
Yeah, but anyway, so this is when we lived in Iowa, so we were going to a totally different place in Nebraska. We wanted to see not only how cheap could you do it, but if you go with no connections whatsoever. And so we did not have any ideas, and we looked at it on Onyx, but went over there, get our hotel, and drove around till we found some birds and just started knocking on doors. And we actually knocked on a place where, I don't know, there's probably 60, 50, 60 or something like that.
There's 25 toms.
Oh, so there's more than that.
There was 25 toms in the road. And I'm like, this would be a good place if we could get permission. Sure enough, the lady was like.
We got permission on the neighbors where we originally found them, across the creek or whatever. And so Dad said, we're good. We're good. They're close enough. We'll get them over there. I said, all right, sounds good. But we got permission over there, and there's piles of toms. And I think the very first morning is when I got.
Oh, yeah.
I got 3 shots the first morning. So the first morning we come in, Dad calls one of them. I think the first one is the one I smoked, I thought. No,
you
the
missed
first one was the one I missed.
Because you shot him and he went back out in the field and started feeding and then just started strutting again. I was like, you better get another arrow.
A group of like 3 or 4 toms broke off, so it wasn't so hectic, which was nice. They come in, shoot one right through his breasts. I was pissed because I thought it was a good shot. And he goes back out there and starts strutting and feeding around and couldn't give a care in the world. It's like, okay, well, I did not kill that one. Well, not even probably 15 minutes later, now the whole group comes, and we've got, I don't even know how many strutting around us. And one comes right into the decoys. I shoot him. He runs out in the field, drops right there. And then the one that was beating up on him, Dad convinced me to shoot him. I shot that one, and that one
cut his foot off.
Yeah, that one was not good. And I argued on that one because I did not want to shoot him. And finally, I was like, okay, well, I'll trust you. And that was not my brightest hour.
Why didn't you want to shoot him?
Because I had just gotten whatever this new bow was or whatever, and so I shot with it some, but I wasn't comfortable and didn't have my pin like super good at 30 yards or anything. So I had my 20-yard pin, and I knew this is when I had a 10 and a 20-yard pin.
He was like 22, 23. I mean, he had to hold a little high, but that was
He was further than that because and I was also little, and so don't have much power going for me.
Yeah.
And I think I'd shot my 20-yard pin I knew was on, and I was like, I don't want to shoot a bird over 20 anyways, so I'm good. I'll be okay with that, my 10 and 20. Shot the one, he runs out, dies at like 25 or I thought it was 30, but we'll meet in the middle.
Okay.
And I'm like, I can't shoot him because I don't have my 30-yard pin. He's like, he's not that far over. Just hold your 20 a little high. It's like, I don't know if I can do it. He's like, you're good. You can do it. Total peer pressure. I said, okay. And so I shot, and perfect left and right, but my arrow dropped significantly more than what either of us, I think, were anticipating because I did aim a little bit high, and I freaking shot him in the foot with my 20-yard pin.
No, you didn't shoot him in the foot. You cut his leg off. Yeah. Because we ended up recovering the turkey because he couldn't fly. He couldn't get up in the air.
Yeah, I was had to chase him down and then shoot him again. That was pretty rough. But 2 birds right there. The following morning, same exact blind setup, and Dad called one in and shot it there too.
But do you remember what we first started? That was the first time we had the remote
RC
control.
car.
We had a buddy of ours had given us a remote control little truck with a turkey on it, with a Jake decoy on it, and said, "Go try this." And we're like, "Well, it's legal." We checked, made sure Nebraska was legal. And so anyhow, all those turkeys were over on like out in the flat down in the bottom there. And I'm like, I'm going to run this out on the little ridge and they should see this turkey moving around. We ran that car up there and that turkey is going along there and those freaking turkeys took off.
The moment they saw it.
They were like not having any part of this. And that
I have no idea how they can tell.
No, but they knew that was fake and they didn't like it and they were gone. Never used a remote control vehicle
Not that
turkey.
I feel like I ever really would want to use
no,
that.
it was
anyways,
just funny.
I was very curious.
It had to have been the way it moved or something.
Yeah, but what doesn't make sense to me is that we go walking behind a decoy. Granted, we're walking like a natural being.
Yeah.
But we're a big old block. We'll have the wings spread out on them and everything. But we have a normal strutting tom sitting on top of this RC car where you can't even see the car. And the moment they see it.
How far were they?
Couple hundred
yards. I mean, not like they were too close. They couldn't hear it or nothing like that.
Aren't birds like ultra sensitive to the electromagnetic field?
Yeah, I think so.
That's why the hex stuff
works so well.
Really well.
Yeah.
I wonder if maybe that was it.
Surely it could have been.
That's a long ways.
Yeah, but I think they're like super sensitive to it.
Maybe, because that would explain too why you can't fly drones over some of these suckers. Like antelope. If you're just trying to get some decent footage of antelope or something, you cannot get your drone high enough for them not to run.
Well,
and then put her on sport
footage
mode.
Of them, just getting footage of the landscape.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we've accidentally run over them when we were trying to film landscape, and then they freaking just took off all an ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I got so many more. Like the helicopter that helped me kill a turkey. I don't know.
That one's pretty good.
It is.
But I think you were making a good one because we probably got one more. Otherwise, we could be here all day.
Well, the other one is I have another one that's comparable to Easton's, but I watched that bird come from over 3/4 of a mile in Montana.
I think the helicopter one's good.
The helicopter one is really good.
Because other people have had them come from a long way. I don't know if else had a helicopter do that.
So we're hunting in I think if you've been listening to the podcast, you'll have heard me talk about a buddy that I hunted with.
I think he's actually told this before, but it's freaking...
But with this kid, Brock, and his dad owned the ground. And anyhow, long story short, we're hunting on, I can't remember what river that is, but it's outside of Glendive, Montana. And this is 15 years ago. And anyhow, we get there that morning, and this time it's not buzzards in a tree. There's literally turkeys, and they're gobbling. And so I start...
the buzzard kid.
Yeah, and so I start calling, and the birds are... And
buzzard Brock.
Yeah. Well, there's piles of turkey. It's like typical turkey. You know, there's too many of them. And so they're flying down. They're in a flock, like 100 yards through the trees. We can see them once in a while, see a fan, but slowly they're inching our way. They're now to where I can see them out there like 80 yards. And I'm like, okay, we just got to be patient here, and eventually one will see us. And so we're sitting there, and all of a sudden I hear this freaking loud noise. Poop, 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 poop. And the river is about 150 yards away. And it's getting louder and louder. And I'm like, it's a freaking helicopter, but gosh dang, it sounds like it's going to land on us. Well, shit, next thing I know, I see it's like 20 feet off the ground, 30 feet, it seems like, off the ground coming down the river. And the birds freak. I mean, just what the hell? And the whole freaking flock takes off through the trees. And I'm like, this is bull crap. Who's going to say that they had a turkey coming and a helicopter flew in and ran them off? And so anyhow, the helicopter keeps going down the river. And so it goes away. All our turkeys are go away. I'm talking to Brock. I'm like, this sucks. Now what do we do? And so maybe 10 minutes later, the helicopter's coming back up the river. I'm like, oh, now he's going to come by again. Here comes our flock of turkeys freaking running back up the thing. And they come running up. This time they get to like 50 yards. The helicopter keeps on going and goes on up the river. And eventually I call that whole flock. So he ran them off and then ran them right back and a little closer. And now they walked right over to my decoy, and I shot one. Come to find out, what the helicopter was doing was looking for a guy that had killed his wife.
Ooh.
And they found her. They did find her.
That's not good.
Yeah, but anyhow, that's what was.
So he did kill her.
He did kill her.
Were they looking for her or looking for him?
I think they were looking for the body at the time. They were trying to find her body. They had an idea what was going on, and they did. I mean, and I didn't know any of that until I was driving home. And this is before you had all these ways of listening to music. I'd listen to the radio, and it comes on the radio and says that this is what's going on. And I'm like, well, that's how come they almost messed my turkey hunt up.
None of them pitched at all.
No, they didn't fly. They all ran.
Interesting.
I don't know if that's because the helicopter was above them, like they were afraid to fly. But it got within 100 yards of them. And when it got within 100 yards of them, the whole flock went down through the trees and we couldn't see them. And then the whole flock came back when they came back up through there.
Yeah. That buddy I have that is huge into shed hunting, finds all the big sheds. Mm-hmm. He found 2 people.
Oh, 2.
Not this year, but the past year, yeah. Which he said, they were pretty, it was just bones. But he told me before, he was like waiting for it. He's like, he knew it would happen at some point because I guess the area that he shed hunts, some of it is pretty rough.
Yeah.
And he's like, I've been doing good for like 20 years, and then twice this year.
Ew.
Yeah.
He's not in Mexico, is he? Or like down on the border or something? He's looking
No.
around here?
Like by Chicago.
Really? That's kind of sucky.
Which, I mean, it was like 20 years before, but he,
I mean, I've walked through a lot of weird stuff. I've never thought I'm going to find a dead person here. Now, when I've hunted Texas or down along the border and stuff, you never know.
Yeah.
I'm so upset. This sucks because I had so many. I mean, I've had 7 toms come in at once that I didn't get to talk about. I killed a 26-pound, 11 3/4 inch and 7/8 spurs giant turkey in Arkansas.
how much?
You sound like the overachiever in math class.
He was 26. He was 26 pounds, had an inch and 7/8 spurs, and an 11 3/4 inch beard. That's one that was mounted.
What's the heaviest bird you ever killed?
That's the only. I didn't weigh them until we moved here. The heaviest bird that Easton and Alyssa both killed. It was 28 or 29.
I don't remember.
That year
was
You guys were
28
freaking out about
something.
it.
28 something, but whatever it was, they were the same.
Yeah.
I've never killed. I think that 26 pounder might be the biggest I've ever killed. That was in Arkansas too, and our average turkey in Arkansas was like 21, 22. If that's a big bird.
What's the biggest beard you've ever killed?
That one, 11 3/4.
I thought you had one that was 12.
No, it was just shy.
You know what your biggest beard is?
I don't think I broke 11.
I don't think I have either.
I think I've got a couple of 10s, but
But the thing about Iowa is not so much the length, is how thick some of them. Like
I
we
don't care about thickness. I don't get a measurement for that.
Yes, sir, man. Like a
Bushy
paintbrush.
beard?
Well,
It's so ugly.
there's 3 or 4 turkeys in there that I have beards as wide as my 4 fingers.
I'm going to shoot all of them. I'm not going to pick
I would
between
way
beards,
rather
but
shoot like a bushy beard than a normal 11.
How many have you guys killed? Any double beards?
I don't think I have.
It was years before I killed. Now I've killed like 3, 4.
I've never killed if I'm going to kill a double beard or whatever, I want it to be one of those where it's like a distinct 2 different beards.
Well,
versus,
like Jared's kid freaking goes down to New Virginia and shoots the first turkey he ever kills has 5 beards or something like that.
John's last year was a triple beard, and they were all like 8.
What the heck? And people that kill bearded hens, and I can't kill a beard. I can't even hardly see one.
yeah. I haven't seen one of those yet either.
I've seen
Well, I've
several.
seen them,
I've
but I
never
haven't
killed
killed
one.
one.
I never had a shot
We
at
have
one.
one or 2 running around, I think.
I haven't seen one this year, but that's not uncommon.
All right.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Why do you have those over there?
It was in my spot.
Wacky fact time for all you guys driving down the road. Hold on to your ass because this is going to be a good one, I'm sure. I don't think so. He'll be lucky to find. Should have something relative to turkeys.
Yeah, that could be tough.
I think a lot of people's
There's
turkey
lots of
seasons
facts.
has started. Ours starts tomorrow morning. Youth season starts tomorrow. The next time we talk to you guys, we will have been in the woods and hunted a turkey because ours starts on Monday.
It's supposed to be super windy, I think.
All right, Hornan. Your TikTok talk time is ticking. Yeah.
In 1987, Stephen Rothstein bought a $250,000 Air Pass from American Airlines, granting him unlimited first-class travel for life. Over 21 years, he took more than 10,000 flights, costing the airline $21 million.
So their little plan there was
Didn't work.
$250,000.
He bought it for $250,000, and then the amount of flights that he's taken would have cost them. Well, it does cost him $21 million.
Smart guy.
Yeah. No kidding.
Yeah.
Well, that's called somebody knew that if they had the money to pay for it, that they'll actually utilize it.
Yeah, if you knew that you were going to do that. Especially like if he had to go to work, he was using it to go, let's just say you lived in Iowa, but you wanted to work in California. Well, now you could do that.
Yeah.
You know, like, I just fly first class. I'm at work in 2 or 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
All right, this one should be interesting
I'll give you that.
because
the airlines got screwed.
I think that they were incorrectly informed here. Restoring wolf populations in an area can reduce deer vehicle collisions by about 24%. This reduction is due to the landscape of fear created by wolves, causing deer to avoid roads. Wolves tend to follow linear paths, including roads, which help keep deer away and reduce collisions.
No. That fact comes from the fact that they kill them all.
I was going to say, or maybe they just killed so many that it's 24% less.
Yeah, the dude that wrote that has never seen a deer.
No, has no idea what the hell they're talking about. That's not to me. That's to them.
Yeah, I agree.
Joey, don't put that on there.
All right. Well, that'll do
That it?
Yeah.
You got it? All right, guys. Thanks for joining us for the Raised Hunting Podcast today. Again, go to the website, check out the Raised Knocks, Raised Scents, new apparel, and also the Raised Canine stuff. If your dog's out there and needs a little boost, we got stuff for them, or they need a little break mentally, we got some stuff for them on the Calming Chews as well. I'm David Holder. This is Warren and Easton. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you after turkey season.
Gobble, gobble, gobble.